Listen to me. Success is not owned, it's leased. And rent is due every single day. You want to be successful? You want to be a beast? Then you better start acting like one. You don't get a pass because you're tired. You don't get a break because you feel like it. Success don't care how you feel. It only responds to discipline, to routine, to a shark mindset. Sharks don't sleep. They don't wait. They move forward or they die. If you're gonna rise to greatness, if you're gonna dominate your field, you need a success routine so precise, so consistent, that even on your worst day, you're still better than their best day. Every morning you wake up, it ain't just a new day. It's another rep, another chance to get sharper, tougher, hungrier. You want what lions have, but you got the mindset of a gazelle. Desire. You want success like it's a hobby? No, it's your lifestyle. So I need you to wake up with fire. Move like a machine. Think like a shark. No excuses. No plan because plan has to work. The shark isn't the biggest. It's not the fastest, but it's the most relentless. It never stops moving. And neither should you. Because guess what? The grind will never betray you. If you're consistent, if you're disciplined, if you show up every single day, you will win. So lock in. Wake up early. Study harder. Train longer. Cut out the noise. Kill the comfort. Embrace the pain. And remember this. You don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. Now get up and go get it. You keep saying you want to be successful. You keep telling people you got dreams, you got vision. But let me tell you something that's going to hit you hard today. Success is not owned. Success is not owned. Success is leased. And the rent is due every single day. Every day you wake up. Life is standing there with a bill in his hand, asking you serious about this or not. Every single day. You either pay that rent or you don't. And if you don't, then don't be surprised when you don't see results. You see, too many of y'all think success is a one-time payment. You think you can show up and grind for a week, a month, maybe even a year, and then you good. You think after you do one great thing, you can coast off that forever. Nah, life don't work like that. Success don't work like that. It's not a product you buy. It's a lifestyle you maintain. It's a commitment you renew every single day. You don't just hit the gym once and expect to stay in shape. You don't eat one healthy meal and think you're fit. You don't pray once and get your soul fixed forever. It's daily. It's discipline. It's routine. Let me talk to the grinders for a second. The real ones, the ones who know exactly what I'm talking about. You know the rent is due and you pay it, tired, broken, bleeding, you still show up. That's the difference between those who wish for success and those who live it. Success don't care how you feel. It don't care if you're tired. It don't care if you had a long night, if your back hurts, if your friends betrayed you. Life is not fair. But discipline is. The grind is fair. It doesn't lie. It doesn't cheat. If you put in the work, if you pay the rent, success will show up. Not immediately, not when you want it, but eventually. People look at those on top and say, oh man, they paid the rent. No, they paid the rent. Every morning, every night while you were sleeping, they were working. While you were relaxing, they were building. While you were watching Netflix, they were locking in. You gotta stop thinking like success is a vacation you can earn. It's not a destination. It's a way of living. You wanna rise? Then you better grind. You wanna win? Then you better work. Every single day. And don't get it twisted. Just because you paid yesterday, don't mean today is covered. You gotta earn your spot daily. That's the difference between a professional and an amateur. An amateur grinds when they feel like it. A professional grinds no matter how they feel. You think Kobe felt good every morning at 4 a.m. shooting 1,000 shots before practice? No, but he knew the rent was due. You think Serena felt like training when she was sore when her body was screaming? No, but she knew the rent was due. You think Elon Musk felt energized, working 100-hour weeks building Tesla and SpaceX? No, but he paid the rent. And let me tell you something else. It's not always glamorous. Paying the rent ain't flashy. Ain't nobody clapping for you when you do the boring stuff. Ain't nobody giving you awards for waking up at 5 a.m. to study or going to the gym when it's cold or staying disciplined when temptation knocks. But that's the rent. That's what it looks like. It's unglamorous. It's unseen. It's thankless, but it's required. And if you're not willing to pay it, then you don't deserve what comes on the other side. You say you want success, But are you really willing to pay the price? Are you willing to do the same hard thing day after day when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when it doesn't feel exciting? Because that's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the successful from the spectators. That's what makes someone legendary. Not that they started strong, but that they stayed committed when the fire faded, when the hype was gone, when the results were slow. And let me be clear, there is no shortcut. There's no cheat code. There's no secret formula. The rent is paid with sweat, tears, focus, and sacrifice every single day. Not just when you feel motivated, not just when it's convenient, not just when it's easy, every day, period. So when you wake up tomorrow, ask yourself, did I pay the rent today? Did I give my best? Did I grind even when I didn't feel like it? Because if you did, don't expect success to show up at your door. Don't expect to hold trophies you didn't train for. Don't expect results from effort you never gave. Success ain't cheap, and the world ain't just gonna hand it to you because you want it bad. That's not how it works. You gotta earn it. You gotta grind for it. And when you do, when you truly lock in and make that your standard, then and only then will success say, you've earned another day. You waiting to feel like it. You waiting for the perfect day, the perfect mood, the perfect vibe to do the work. That's why you stuck. That's why you're still where you are. Let me break this down for you real quick. Motivation is a feeling, but routine is a force. Motivation is up today, down tomorrow. It's based on your emotions, your environment, your playlist, the weather, the people around you. One bad conversation and boom, motivation gone. One flat tire, one lost client, one missed opportunity, and your motivation goes silent. But routine don't care how you feel. Routine says, I don't need your feeling. I need your focus. Routine doesn't care if it's Monday or Friday. It doesn't care if you slept well or had a bad dream. Routine says, this is what we do. This is who we are. This is how we show up. Because you don't get great by accident. You get great by structure, by discipline, by waking up every day and doing the same boring, unsexy, painful thing until the results start chasing you down. That's what separates the champions from the chaser. Everybody starts off hype. Everybody starts off hype. Everybody's excited on day one. You ever seen people on January 1st in the gym? It's packed. Energy's high, new shoes, new gear, new playlist, new goals. But come February, that place is a ghost town. You know why? Because motivation got them through the door, but routine keeps you in the room. Anybody can get excited. Anybody can post a vision board and scream about their goals. But only the disciplined can wake up at 5 a.m. when nobody's watching. Only the locked in can practice for hours when the crowd is gone. Because they're not depending on hype. They're depending on habits. See, the reason why you're not seeing results is because you only work when you feel like it. You only go hard when it feels good. And guess what? Winners don't operate off feelings. They operate off principles. And their principle is, I show up, I do the work every single time. Whether I feel like it or not. Because this ain't about a mood. This ain't about inspiration. This is about becoming who I said I would become. And that takes repetition. It takes structure. It takes daily execution of the same actions over and over and over. You can't build a legacy on emotions. You build it on effort. You build it on systems. I don't wake up every day fired up screaming, let's go. Nah, some days I wake up tired, frustrated, stressed. But my routine don't care. My routine says, let's move. It pulls me out of bed. It puts me on the track. It gets me in the studio. Because success is predictable when you build the right habits. You waiting on motivation, you're gonna be waiting a long time. Because motivation might visit you once a week, but discipline lives in your house. Motivation might text you, but discipline is already in the kitchen making breakfast saying, oh, let's go, baby. We got work to do. And the problem is, too many of y'all dating motivation when you should be married to your routine. Motivation is a summer fling, but routine is that ride or die. The one that's still by your side when the lights are off, when the cameras are gone, when the crowd stops clapping. And don't get it twisted. Routine isn't easy. It's not always fun, but that's what makes it powerful. Because the very thing you're avoiding, repetition, discipline, structure, is the same thing that's gonna make you unstoppable. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, they don't just rely on talent. They rely on the work, on the schedule, on the hours and hours of doing the same drill, the same script, the same scale, until excellence becomes automatic, until greatness becomes second nature. I remember when I was homeless, eating out of trash cans. You think I was motivated? No, I was broken, I was hurting, but I created a routine. Wake up, hit the library, study, read, grind, day in, day out. And over time, that routine turned into a rhythm. That rhythm turned into momentum. That momentum turned into transformation. And that's the formula. You show up, you execute, you repeat. That's it. That's the game. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your routine. So what's your routine saying about you? Is it scattered? Is it soft? Is it full of gaps and excuses? Or is it tight? Is it laser focused? Is it built for greatness? Because you can talk all day about what you want, but your routine, that's the real report card. That's what tells me whether you're gonna make it or not. So while they out there chasing motivation, chasing hype, chasing moment, you stay building. You build systems, you build rituals. You build a lifestyle so strong, so rooted, that success has no choice but to show up. And when it does, it won't be a surprise. It'll just be another day at the office. You want to survive in this game? You want to dominate in life, in business, in your purpose? Then you got to stop thinking like prey and start thinking like a predator. I'm not talking about hurting people. I'm talking about becoming a shark in your mindset. See, when you're soft, when you hesitate, when you second guess yourself, life will eat you alive. The world don't wait for nobody. The weak get devoured. The unsure get overlooked. But the focused, the relentless, the sharks, they rise. Let me tell you something about a shark. A shark never stops moving. If it does, it dies. It's got no reverse. It's not built to swim backward. It's wired to push forward, to chase, to hunt. That's the mindset you need. You got to be all in. Forward motion only. Because too many of you are stuck in reverse, replaying your past, reliving your mistakes, hanging on to what didn't work, what they said about you, how you were raised, what you didn't get. You can't swim forward if you're chained to yesterday. Sharks don't look back. They attack what's next. And don't think a shark is always the biggest in the ocean. It's not, but it's one of the most feared. Why? Because of its presence, because of how it moves, because of how it thinks. A shark don't ask for permission to dominate, it just does. And that's how you need to carry yourself. Stop playing small. Stop waiting to be invited to the table. Stop waiting for the green light. Be the light. Take up space. You weren't made to be invisible. You weren't made to be timid. You were made to make waves. But here's the thing, you gotta change how you see yourself. Sharks don't question their identity. They don't wake up wondering if they're dangerous. They know what they are. That's your problem. You keep forgetting who you are. You keep forgetting the power, the talent, the purpose God put inside of you. You keep letting fear talk louder than your faith. But fear don't feed you. Hesitation don't help you. Doubt don't deliver success. You gotta silence all that noise and get back to the mission. You were made to lead, to conquer, to shift the atmosphere when you walk into a room. Sharks don't chase approval. They don't need to be liked. And that's where most people fail. You out here trying to please everybody, make everybody comfortable, keep everything peaceful. But you weren't made to be polite at the expense of your calling. You weren't made to shrink just others feel tall. Sharks don't apologize for being sharp. Don't apologize for being fast, for being focused. And you shouldn't either. If your excellence intimidates others, that's not your problem. That's a mirror for them to level up. You want to thrive? Then you better train like a predator. No off days, no lazy mindsets, no waiting around for things to happen. You go make it happen, you move with intention, you execute with urgency, you study the game, you adapt fast. You keep your eyes on the target because sharks are laser focused. When they see what they want, they don't get distracted, they don't pause, they don't wait for the right moment. They strike, and you better start striking too. Enough with the overthinking. Enough with the maybe next year. The time is now. Sharks don't wait. They add. And I know it's tough. I know there's pressure. I know some days you don't feel like it. But sharks don't stop just because it's hard. They thrive in pressure. They swim through storms. They survive in waters most creatures can't handle. You think it's supposed to be easy? You think greatness comes without resistance? No, it comes in the deep. It comes with a strong survive. So if you're in deep waters right now, good. That's where you grow. That's where you become a shark. You don't become dangerous by staying in the shallow. You don't develop that edge, that focus, that resilience by staying comfortable. You get that by pushing past your limits, by choosing growth over comfort, by choosing discipline over distractions. Sharks don't chill. Sharks don't coast. Sharks move, always, relentlessly. And that's who you need to be. Every single day. Stop playing like a guppy and start walking like a shark. Own your space, walk in your power, execute your purpose. You were not born to blend in with the background. You were born to lead the pack. You were born to shake oceans. So I need you to wake up with that predator energy. I need you to move with that alpha mindset. I need you to protect your vision like a shark protects his territory. And when you walk into a room, I want them to feel it. I want them to know you're serious, that you're focused, that you're about action, that you don't talk, you do, that you don't chase comfort, you chase greatness. And if something gets in your way, you go through it, around, or whatever it takes. Because that's what sharks do, and that's what you're about to do. Let me ask you a question. What's your backup plan? And if you just started thinking about it, you already lost. See, that's the problem. Too many of you got one foot in and one foot out. You got a dream, a vision, a calling, but then you got a safety net just in case it doesn't work. Let me tell you something real. If you keep a plan B in your back pocket, you're already preparing to fail. You're already giving yourself permission to quit. You're already setting up the excuse. And that ain't how champions move. When you really want it, like deep in your soul wanted, you burn the boats. That's right. Like the warriors who landed on enemy shores and burned their own ships. So the only way home was through victory. No retreat, no escape, no options. Either win or die trying. That's how serious you gotta be. Because when quitting is an option, you'll always flirt with it. When you leave the door open, eventually you'll walk through it. Some of you are wondering why your dream ain't taking off. You wonder why it's not growing, why you're not leveling up, why you feel stuck. I'll tell you why you haven't fully committed. You keep tiptoeing into your purpose. You're half-hearted, half-focused, half-invested. You give your dream just enough energy to survive, but not enough to thrive. You keep checking your comfort zone like it's your emergency exit. That's why it's not happening. Listen to me. You can't conquer anything with a backup plan. That plan B is killing your plan A. It's draining your drive. It's dividing your focus. You can't go all out when you're already planning how to fall back. If you're going to do this, do it like your life depends on it. Do it like this is your only shot. Because for some of us, it is. For some of us, there's no inheritance, no connections, no handouts. This is it. This is all we got. When I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, there was no plan B. There was no what if this doesn't work. I had to make it work. I had to hustle, grind, bleed, cry, whatever it took. I didn't have time to doubt. I didn't have space for fear. Because when you have no backup, you focus different. You move different. You fight different. When it's win or die, you fight like your soul's on the line. You tap into something deeper, something primal, something powerful. That's what separates the average from the elite. The average keep their parachutes. The elite burn in. And don't come at me talking about it being realistic. Don't try to dress fear up in logic. Fear loves to wear suits. It loves to disguise itself as practicality. But deep down, you know the truth. You're scared to fail. Scared to go all in and come up short. But let me tell you this. Failing while going 100% is better than winning with half your heart. Because real failure isn't falling, it's quitting before you even try. It's retreating when the pressure hits. It's living your whole life wondering, oh, what if? You need to declare war on the backup plan. You need to delete the escape route. Stop telling yourself it doesn't work. No, there is no adjust. You either make it work or you die trying. You either figure it out or you keep grinding until you do. You pivot, adjust, evolve, adapt. But you don't back up. You don't run. You stand in the fire. You learn to breathe in the smoke. You walk through the flames with your head high because that's what warriors do. And when people don't understand, let them talk. Let them talk. Let them call you crazy. Let them say you're reckless because what's truly crazy is living a life that's beneath your purpose just because you wanted to play it safe. What's reckless is wasting your potential, watering down your gift, shrinking your dreams because you were afraid of the unknown. The ones who changed the world never had a plan B. They had a dream and a fire that wouldn't quit. That's what you need. Every second you entertain plan B, you're taking energy away from plan A. Every second you hesitate, you lose momentum. Every second you plan your exit, you miss your entry into greatness. Cut it all. Close the door and throw away the key. Either you make it happen or you die with your boots on. And don't think it's supposed to feel safe. Don't think it's supposed to be easy. It's terrifying. It's overwhelming. But that pressure, that's the blessing. That's the edge. That's the fire that forges greatness. You weren't made for comfort. You were made for impact. You weren't made to play it safe. You were made to shift atmospheres. So take that leap. Go all in. Lock in. Bet on yourself and don't look back. There's no plan B, only purpose. Only vision. Only the work. Only forward. Only now. Everybody's waiting for that spark. That perfect song. That motivational video. That morning where everything just feels right. But let me tell you something that'll save your life. It's a feeling, and motivation is a lie. It's a feeling, and feelings fade. One day you're hyped, the next you're drained. One day you're flying, the next you don't even want to get out of bed. You can't build success off of feelings. You can't build a future on vibes. You need something deeper, something tougher, something permanent, and that's called discipline. Discipline don't care how you feel. It shows up anyway. Discipline gets up when it's cold, when it's dark, when you're tired, when nobody's watching. Discipline is that voice in your head that says, if we do this regardless, you think I always feel like grinding. You think I always feel like grinding. You think I always feel like speaking, like coaching, like pushing. No, but I made a commitment. I made a promise to myself that my goals don't care how I feel. They just care whether I showed up or not. You see, discipline is a decision. It's a contract between you and your destiny. And you sign that contract every day with your actions, not your words. You don't sign it once. You sign it every time you choose to show up when it's hard. No, boo. Every time you eat clean when your flesh is screaming for junk. Every time you hit the gym when your body wants to sleep. Every time you study, build, learn, hustle when no one is clapping, when no one sees you. That's discipline. That's the difference between the people who win and the people who wish. You've been tricked into thinking success feels good all the time. That's Instagram garbage. Real success feels boring some days. It feels repetitive. It feels heavy. You want the dream, but not the dull routine. You want the results, but not the grind. You want the reward, but not the responsibility. But here's the truth. You don't get results by doing what's exciting. You get results by doing what's necessary. And most of the time, what's necessary ain't glamorous. Motivation is emotional. It's unpredictable. You can't trust it. You can't rely on it. If you're counting on motivation to carry you, you're gonna drown. That's why you keep starting and stopping. That's why you're hot for 2 weeks and then vanish for 2 months. It's because you're building your life on hype instead of habits. You don't need hype, you need hunger. You don't need a spark, you need structure. That's what discipline gives you. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your results. It's what separates wishes from winning. You gotta show up when it's inconvenient. You gotta show up when it hurts. Because greatness doesn't come to the most gifted, it comes to the most consistent. To the one who refuses to break the routine just because the mood changed. I thought, Eric, how do I stay motivated? You train yourself to move without it. You rewire your brain to respect structure over emotion. You build ritual, not rely on inspiration. You put your goals in the calendar. You put your training in your schedule. You make it a non-negotiable. Because if it's optional, you'll quit. If it's a when I feel like it, you'll never do it. You have to make it a law in your life. You eat, you sleep, you grind, period. It's time to fall in love with discipline. Not because it feels good, but because it builds you. Discipline shapes your mind. It creates strength. It creates self-respect. It's a mama pet. It teaches you that you're in control of your destiny, that you don't need outside noise to do inside work, that you can depend on yourself. That's power. That's freedom. You keep looking for motivation like it's the missing piece, but discipline is the piece. Discipline is the weapon. Discipline is what keeps you moving when your friends quit, when the weather's bad, when the money's low, when the lights disappear. It's what keeps you loyal to your vision when nobody's clapping. You don't need applause. You need alignment. You need routine. You need conviction. And if you want to change your life, start by doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Wake up early even when you're tired. Study even when your friends are partying. Show up even when the odds are stacked against you. That's how you win. Not in the moments of hype, but in the moments of obedience. In the mundane, in the repetition, in the silence. That's where champions are built. Fall in love with the grind. Marry the process. Commit to the routine. Discipline ain't sexy, but it's unstoppable. Motivation might give you a jump start, but only discipline can finish the race. Every single day you're faced with choices. Do I take the easy road or do I take the hard road that leads to greatness? And too many of y'all keep choosing comfort. You keep chasing that quick dopamine hit, that instant gratification, that temporary high. But let me ask you something. How's that been working out for you? How many times have you reached for the easy thing and then sat there with regret afterward? How many dreams have you delayed? How much potential have you buried because you weren't willing to sacrifice now for later? Let me break it down for you. Success ain't about what you're willing to do. It's about what you're willing to give up. That's the truth nobody wants to talk about. Everybody wants to be successful until it's time to pay the price. You want the six-pack, but not the meal prep. You want the business, but not the late nights and early mornings. You want to be a beast, but can't stop scrolling. Can't say no to the party. Can't shut the TV off. You can't keep feeding your flesh and expect your future to flourish. Discipline means giving up something now so you can gain something greater later. It means saying no to what feels good today so you can live a life tomorrow that most people can only dream about. You think billionaires became billionaires by sleeping in, watching Netflix, and partying on the weekends? No, they traded comfort for grind. They traded pleasure for purpose. They gave up the candy so they could build the kingdom. Too many of y'all want microwave results with oven effort. You want it now, fast, easy, and that's the trap. The world is feeding you fast food for your mind, likes, views, temporary wins, and it's starving your long-term growth. But permanent results don't come from temporary habits. You want legacy? You want to build something that outlives you? That takes sacrifice. That takes giving up things that everybody else thinks are normal. That means being misunderstood, being called obsessed, being called crazy. Let him talk. I remember when I was sleeping in abandoned buildings. I didn't have food. I didn't have comfort. I didn't have pleasure. But I had a vision. I had a fire. I was willing to suffer now so I could shine later. You know what's crazy? The world will tell you a lie for today and then judge you when you're broke tomorrow. The world will celebrate you when you turn up every weekend and then laugh at you when you're still stuck at the bottom 10 years later. Don't fall for it. Be different. Delay the gratification. Delay the fun. Delay the comfort. Build. Grind, lock in. Because while they're sleeping, you're growing. While they're relaxing, you're evolving. While they're wasting time, you're compounding value. And 10 years from now, they'll ask how you did it. And you'll say, I sacrificed when they did. I chose purpose over pleasure. I chose future over feelings. See, permanent results require a long-term mindset. You gotta see past the moment. You gotta see the end game. When you say no to fast food, you're saying yes to long-term health. When you say no to distractions, you're saying yes to deep focus. When you say no to staying in bed, you're saying yes to building a legacy. Every time you deny your flesh, you strengthen your spirit. You take control. You stop letting the world drag you around and you start walking in your own direction. And here's the thing, it's not that you can't have fun. It's that you can't afford to make fun your foundation. You can't let entertainment be your escape every time life gets hard. You can't keep numbing your pain with pleasure. You gotta face it, feel it, fight through it. Because once you learn to live without the short-term hits, you become dangerous. You become unshakable. You become the kind of person who can delay, focus, and execute without needing rewards every 5 seconds. People always say to me, Eric, how do you stay so consistent? I sacrificed. I made a decision that nothing would come before my calling. Not sleep, not parties, not laziness, not comfort. I had to die to the old me. I had to give up who I was to become who I was meant to be. That's the price. And I pay it every day. Because once you've tasted freedom, real freedom, you'll never go back. So stop saying you want it and start proving it. Start giving something up. Start saying no. Start fasting from your distraction. Start choosing growth over gratification. You're not missing out. You're positioning yourself. You're not falling behind. You're setting yourself up for a life most people would never taste. Sacrifice ain't sexy, but it's sacred. It's the currency of champions. It's the difference between average and legendary. So give it up. Whatever it is, give it up. Because what you're gaining is greater than what you're losing. This is your moment. Trade the temporary for the eternal. Trade the cheap for the priceless. Trade the now for the next. When people see your routine, they should be uncomfortable. I'm not talking about inspired. I'm talking about shaken. I'm talking about convicted. I'm talking about looking at your grind and saying, there's no way I can keep up with that. That's when you know you're doing something right. When average people feel threatened just by your commitment. When their excuses don't even sound right next to your effort. That's what separates the rare ones. That's what makes your name echo in rooms you haven't even stepped into yet. Most people want to be great, but they're living on average energy. They want millionaire dreams on minimum wage effort. They want to break records, but they're living on routines that wouldn't scare a house cat. If your routine doesn't disturb people, you're not going hard enough. If they look at your life and feel comfortable, that's a problem, because real greatness is offensive. Real dedication challenges mediocrity. It confronts every excuse, every shortcut, every lazy habit, and says, not here, not in this house. I'm telling you right now, if your alarm clock ain't shocking people, you're not serious. If you're not studying when they're sleeping, grinding when they're relaxing, pushing when they're pausing, then how do you expect to be different? You can't be legendary and live like everybody else. You can't want the crown but follow the crowd. The path to greatness is paved in uncomfortable routines, not fancy motivation. You gotta wake up earlier than the sun. You gotta wake up earlier than the coach expected. You gotta read more than what's required. You gotta study longer than the test needs. You gotta show up when nobody asks you to, stay longer than anybody expected, and do more than anybody is willing to do. That's the price of greatness. You wanna build an empire? Start with your habits. You wanna change the world? Start by changing your schedule. When people ask me, Eric, what's the secret to success? I tell them, my routine would kill most of y'all. Not because I'm better, but because I'm obsessed. Because I made a vow that I would never go back to being broke. I would never go back to being average. I would never go back to waiting on motivation to make me move. I became the kind of person whose daily grind is louder than anybody's opinion, whose actions preach louder than any sermon. And you can become that person too. But you gotta be willing to make people uncomfortable with your consistency. Let them call you crazy. Let them call you too much. Let them call you obsessed. Because while they're calling you names, you're building something they can't even imagine. While they're laughing at your grind, you're stacking success, brick by brick. And one day, the same people who doubted your routine will ask how you did it. And you'll smile, not because you want revenge, but because you know they could have joined you, but they weren't willing to sacrifice like you. You gotta build a routine that's militant, strategic, ruthless. A routine that respects your time more than your feeling. A routine that says, this is the standard, period. Not when I feel like it, not when it's convenient. Every single day, even when it rains, even when I'm tired, even when I'm heartbroken, even when I'm discouraged. Because purpose doesn't pause for pain. Dreams don't delay just because life got hard. So I don't either. Your discipline has to be louder than your doubts. Your routine has to be tighter than your excuses. People should look at your life and feel like they just got hit by a wave of focus. They should walk away questioning their own work ethic. Not because you're trying to make them feel bad, but because your intensity is that real. Because your standards are that high. Because your goals are that serious. Stop looking around for permission. Stop waiting for someone to validate your hunger. Stop dialing down your intensity so other people feel comfortable. Turn it up. Max it out. Be unapologetic about your grind. If your schedule is so sharp it cuts laziness in half, then you're on the right track. If your habits are so dialed in and make other people question how they spend their day, you're getting close. And if people can't hang with your pace, leave them. You're not here to make friends. You're here to make legacy. That 4 a.m. wake up, that's a declaration. That on no days off of mindset, that's your weapon. That wild day party, outbuild lifestyle, that's how you become a giant in a world of sleepers. Most people want results, but don't want routine. They want power, but not process. But there is no shortcut to greatness. Only systems, only discipline, only repetition that doesn't flinch under pressure. So from this day forward, make it your mission to build a routine so fierce, so focused, so consistent that average people can't even comprehend it. Because when you do that, you're not just chasing success, you're becoming it. Let me be real with you right now. Distraction is the silent killer of destiny. It doesn't show up loud. It doesn't come in screaming. It slides in quietly, smooth, slick, subtle. It shows up in the scroll, in the notification. In the I'll just check this real quick. In the just 5 more minutes of sleep. And while you're entertained, your dream is bleeding out. While you're distracted, your purpose is dying in the background. Let that hit you. You think you got time, but distractions robbing you in silence. Every minute you spend on something that doesn't grow you is a minute you just gave away to failure. You think you're relaxing, you think you're unwinding. But the truth is, every time you put your purpose on pause for something petty, your future is paying the price. You want to be elite? You want to rise above the average, and you better learn to guard your mind like your life depends on it. Because it does. Distraction doesn't care how talented you are, or it doesn't care how big your vision is. If it can get your attention, it can kill your progress. And it doesn't need to destroy you all at once. It just needs a few seconds at a time. A little bit here, a little bit there. And before you know it, your momentum is gone, your fire is out, your drive is dried up, and your dream is sitting there cold, untouched, while you're out here scrolling through somebody else's highlight reel. You better recognize the enemy before it robs you blind. It's designed to keep you chasing entertainment instead of execution. And I'm telling you right now, you can't play both sides. You can't scroll and soar. You can't binge watch and build. You can't entertain distraction and expect elevation. It's one or the other. Pick one. You got to get to a point where you treat your vision like your child. You wouldn't let some stranger babysit your baby while you go off and waste time, would you? And then stop leaving your dream unattended while you run off chasing meaningless things. Protect it, nurture it, stay with it. And that means cutting off the noise. That means getting off the grid. That means deleting apps, turning off your phone and locking in. And yeah, people gonna call you antisocial. They're gonna say, utu and chin. Come on, live a little. But what they don't realize is you're living for something greater. They don't know the price you're paying. They don't know the fire that's burning in your belly. They don't know the vision that keeps you up at night. Now you don't owe them an explanation. You owe your dream execution. You owe your future your full attention. I need you to hear this. You are not tired. You are distracted. You are not lazy. You are surrounded by things pulling you away from what matters. You are not unmotivated. You are just overwhelmed by clutter, mental clutter, emotional clutter, digital clutter. And the only way out is through discipline, through intentional elimination, through conscious focus. You got to choose your focus the way a sniper chooses a target with precision and purpose. You think discipline is hard? Try regret. Try looking in the mirror 5 years from now, knowing you had everything you needed to win, but you traded it for likes and memes and mindless conversation. That pain lasts a lifetime. You better start starving your distractions and feeding your goals. You better start designing your life to protect your purpose at all costs. Because if you don't, you'll wake up one day realizing you gave your best energy to the wrong thing. You got to create a system, not just motivation, because motivation fades. Motivation depends on how you feel. But your routine, your boundaries, your execution, that's what protects you from distraction. Have a plan for your time or somebody else will use it for their agenda. And guess what? Their agenda won't build your dream. Distraction is loud, but your purpose has to be louder. You got to drown out the noise. You got to outwork the algorithm. You got to make your why stronger than your Wi-Fi. When you wake up, your mission should be the first thing on your mind, not your messages. When you go to sleep, Your progress should be what you think about, not your posts. That's the mindset. That's how winners think. You're not missing out when you're focused. You're not behind. You're ahead. Because while the world is busy watching, you're busy working. While they're talking, you're transforming. While they're waiting for a sign, you're becoming the answer. Don't you ever feel guilty for cutting off distraction? That's not selfish. That's sacred. That's necessary. That's what it takes to become the person your dream needs you to be. This is your time. This is your window. And every second counts. Kill distraction before it kills your dream. Eliminate it. Reject. Perfection is a trap. Perfection is the excuse that keeps most people stuck. They say, I can't start until it's perfect. I can't move until it's right. I can't show up until it's flawless. And while they're waiting on perfect, somebody else with less talent, fewer resources, and more hunger is out there grinding, building, growing, failing forward, and winning. Because it's not about being perfect. It's about making progress. It's about getting better every single day. It's about showing up when it's messy, when it's hard, when you're unsure, and putting in the work anyway. You think your heroes got where they are by being perfect? No, they got there because they refused to quit. They got there because they kept pressing through the ugly stages. They got there because they were more obsessed with the process than the praise. That's what separates the champions from the chasers. That's what separates the ones who finish from the ones who fade. It's that obsession with moving forward, no matter what. You gotta stop worshiping perfection and start respecting consistency. Perfection will paralyze you. Progress will free you. Perfection will keep you doubting yourself. Progress will build your confidence. Perfection demands everything be right before you act. Progress says, a move now and fix it as you go. That's how you build momentum. That's how you find your rhythm. That's how you grow into your greatness. Every master was once a disaster. Every giant you admire was once invisible. Every legend was once laughed at, but they did stop. They didn't wait. They didn't let the fear of imperfection keep them silent. They acted. They took steps. They stumbled. They learned. And that's how they rose. That's how you rise too. Not by being flawless, but by being fearless in your forward motion. When I started speaking, I wasn't the best. I didn't have the perfect message, the perfect delivery, the perfect stage presence. But I had passion. I had purpose. And I had a burning desire to grow. So I showed up, I spoke. I messed up. I learned. And I came back again and again until I got better. And even now, I ain't perfect. But I'm better than I was yesterday. And that's all that matters. That's the obsession. That's the goal. Better. Let other people chase applause. Let them chase aesthetics. Let them worry about how it looks. You chase growth. You chase development. You chase evolution. If you improve by just 1% every day, that's 365% better in a year. That transformation. That's what it means to be dangerous in your discipline. That's what it means to be unstoppable. Too many people are afraid to look foolish. They're afraid to fail in public. They're afraid to be seen in the becoming stage. But that's where champions are born, in the uncomfortable, unpolished, unfiltered grind. If you can push through that season, you'll be unbeatable. But if you keep waiting for perfect conditions, you'll miss your moment. Don't let your ego demand perfection. Let your hunger demand progress. Don't let your pride stop you from starting small. Let your purpose drive you to take the first step, and then the next, and then the next. Because if you do that long enough, you'll wake up one day and the world will call you overnight success, not knowing how long you've been grinding in the dark. I know people who've been sitting on books for 5 years because they think it's not ready. I know entrepreneurs with billion-dollar ideas they've never launched because they want everything to be just right. I know athletes who won't step on the field until they feel 100%. Let me tell you something. Success doesn't wait for perfect. Success favors the bold. Success rewards the doer. Success shows up for those who show up for themselves. You gotta be willing to launch ugly, start clumsy, speak before you're ready, move before you're certain. Why? Because momentum beats perfection. Action beats anxiety. Progress beats paralysis. Don't confuse preparation with procrastination. There comes a point when the most powerful thing you can do is take action, even if it's messy, especially when it's messy. You want to be great? Start before you're great. You want to be confident? Do it while you're scared. You want to be polished? First, be raw. You can't improve something you don't begin. So begin. Begin and get better. Begin and build strength. Begin and become what they said you never could be. And don't measure your progress against somebody else's perfection. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. That's the only person you should be trying to beat. If you're a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday, then you're winning. You're on win. Don't let Instagram fool you. Don't let the highlight reels distract you. Everybody's struggling. Everybody's growing. But only the obsessed keep going. Be obsessed with improvement. Be addicted to evolution. If you want to be great, you have to understand this. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant good seeds, weeds will grow. If you don't feed it daily with knowledge and motivation, it will starve. It will get lazy. It will fall victim to doubt, fear, and negativity, would say. Your mind needs fuel, and not just any fuel, the right fuel. You got to feed it with things that build you up, inspire you, challenge you, and stretch you beyond your limits. Because the truth is, the quality of mind determines the quality of your life. If you fill your head with junk, your life will reflect that junk. If you fill your head with greatness, your life will rise to meet it. Every successful person you admire didn't get there by accident. They didn't get lucky. They got there because they were obsessed with growth. Because they were committed to feeding their minds every single day. They woke up hungry, not just for food, but for knowledge. They understood that success isn't just about hard work. It's about smart work. It's about what you learn, how you think, and what you believe. And that all starts in your mind. You want to be a shark? And you got to feed your brain like a shark hunts, constantly, aggressively, relentlessly. You can't rely on motivation from outside sources all the time. That's temporary. That's like putting gas in your tank, but never filling the tank with the right oil. You got to develop the discipline to feed yourself daily. Read a book, listen to a podcast, watch a motivational video. Surround yourself with people who push you to be better. This isn't a one-time event. It's a lifestyle. Look around. The world is full of distractions designed to kill your focus. Social media, gossip, negativity, fear, doubt. They all compete for your attention. If you don't consciously choose to feed your mind with knowledge and motivation, those distractions will fill the space instead. They will take root and choke out your dreams. But if you guard your mind and fill it with power, it will become a fortress. A place where ideas grow, confidence builds, and vision becomes clear. The greatest investment you can make is in your mind. It costs you nothing but time. And that time is worth more than gold. You think a millionaire got rich by chance? No, they got rich by thinking differently, by reading differently, by learning daily. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading and learning. Bill Gates reads about 50 books a year. Oprah credits her success to the books she's read and the mentors who've spoken into her life. This isn't a coincidence. This is a formula. You want to outwork your competition. Start by outthinking them. You want to outlast your enemies? Feed your mind with strength. The more you learn, the more you grow. The more you grow, the more doors open. The more doors open, the more opportunities you have to win. That's why knowledge and motivation aren't just they're essential. And don't get it twisted. This isn't just about consuming information. It's about taking action on what you learn. It's about turning motivation into movement. Because knowledge without application is useless. You can read every book in the world, listen to every podcast, watch every video, but if you don't do something with it, you're just wasting time. Feed your mind, then feed your hustle. Learn, then act. Absorb, then execute. You also have to be selective. Not all knowledge is equal. Not all motivation is pure. Be careful what you allow into your mental space. Some will hold you back. Some knowledge will confuse you. Some motivation will just hype you up temporarily, but leave you empty. Find mentors who have walked the path. Find books and teachings that build character, resilience, and clarity. Find messages that push you to the next level and keep you there. Daily feeding means discipline. It means commitment. It means sacrifice. It means turning off the noise and turn on your potential. It means waking up before the sun, reading before you check your phone, listening before you complain, learning before you settle. Because your mind is a machine, and like any machine, it runs on fuel. Without fuel, it breaks down. With the right fuel, it powers you to places you never imagined. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with and the information you consume daily. So be intentional. Surround yourself with greatness. If you want to be the shark, feed your mind like a shark. Read, listen, learn, and grow every single day. This is how empires are built. This is how legacies are made. If you neglect your mind, you're leaving your future to chance. But if you feed it daily, you're writing your own destiny. So get obsessed, get intentional, and get to work feeding the most powerful weapon you have, your mind.